Hello and welcome. Let's get right into the STEM summary of this week. A similar topic to last week, where surgeons in Alabama transported a pig's kidney into a brain-dead man. A step-by-step rehearsal that they see in operation later this year with living patients. Last week we talked about how a living man received a pig heart successfully with some gene editing. Amazing news. Next, we head over to LA with something that is rarely found in urban areas, an oil field, right next to where people live and actually common in Black and Latino communities in LA. The city council is expected to vote next week on a measure that would ban new oil and gas wells in the nation's most populous city and phase out existing wells over the next 5 years. You see, pollution from these facilities is associated with chronic health impacts, according to a study from last year. People living near Jefferson Park reported significant higher rates of wheezing, eye and nose irritation, sore throat, and dizziness from other neighbors that live farther away. Now we go into some sad news. It covered an area of roughly 2,300 square miles when it broke free from Antarctica in 2017, but by 2021, it had vanished. 1 trillion tons of ice gone. A monster iceberg called A68 was dumping more than 1.5 billion tons of fresh water into the ocean every single day at the height of its melting. For a while, there were fears that the giant block could ground into surrounding shallow waters and block foraging routes for millions of penguins, seals, and whales. But by April 2021, A68 had broken into countless small fragments that were beyond tracking, and researchers are currently busy trying to see what the impact of this big iceberg had on the environment. Now we go on to some brighter green news in South Australia, where they set an impressive renewable energy record at the end of 2021, where its state solar and wind farm and rooftop solar system supplied an average over 100% of the local demand every day for almost a week. It's not uncommon for renewables to supply for more than 100 share of South Australia's demand these days, although this is the first time it happened for so many days in a row. According to the local energy department, the share of wind over the 6.5 days averaged 64.4%, while rooftop solar averaged 29.5%, and the share of utility scale of solar averaged 6.2%. Impressive news from South Australia. Great to see renewables doing this record. And continuing on, we go to Puerto Rico. You see, Puerto Rico's energy utility has submitted a solar and storage project bid to the government for approval, while the second bid is in the process has been announced. A backlog of distribution is being cleared, as Puerto Rico's Act 17, enacted in 2019, requires the energy to be reaching 20% renewable generation by this year, and 40% by 2025, and 60% by 2040, and 100% has to be renewable by 2050. The Energy Bureau is developing a regulation to implement this law. This is great news, and with that, we go into the science snips. Okay, this snip is actually really cool. A new coral reef was discovered. When? Well, it was at the end of last year, when they went on a deep dive. Unlike most coral reefs, which are found in shallow waters and already mapped out, this one was 115 feet to 230 feet deep. You see, coral reefs are among the ocean's most threatened ecosystem, vulnerable to pollution, rising sea temperatures, and the change in chemistry caused by the dissolving of CO2. So scientists and researchers want to get out there and map the special place and understand the ecological role and make sure that they protect these. And lastly, we talk about the billionaire Mark Cuban, who just launched an online pharmacy for affordable generic drugs. The company, which is registered as a pharmaceutical wholesaler, will purchase drugs directly from the manufacturer, bypassing the middleman and leading to lower prices. This is great news for people that need these drugs and can't afford them, but now will be able to get them online. Anyways, that's the end of this week's STEM summary. I hope you enjoyed and come back next week for more. Goodbye.